All right. Okay. All right. Well, welcome, welcome. I will add people in as we have them come in. Let's see what we got here. All right. Back. All right. Well, welcome. My name is Beth Gaff, and I am the systems manager here at the Peabody Public Library. I was trying to turn off my do not disturb because if I get a call or anything, then it's going to cut off my video, and I was not able to get that done. But we're hoping that that's not going to happen. All right, so for February, we are going to be painting this bicycle painting with balloons. It's a Valentine type painting. So that means that we're going to be turning our canvas this way. So instead of portrait, we're going to be doing it in a landscape way. And I do apologize for our January class not being on the channel. Evidently, I did not have it set up to record, and I didn't realize that until I was done. So I made sure to go back in and make sure all of these are recorded now. So hopefully that won't happen again and nobody will miss the class. So we are going to get started with our painting today. And these are all brought to you by Step by Step Painting. I get them online. It's just a free painting that she offers to people. And, but I definitely want to give her credit because that is where all of our designs come for our virtual painting class that we have every month. So we're going to get started. And let me tell you what I got here. So I've got my plate. I'm going to be putting on my paint on my plate here. I also made myself a piece of carbon paper so I'm able to trace on my stencil. So if you haven't printed out your stencil, you're going to want to do that. And I would much prefer having an actual piece of carbon paper. However, I was not able to locate any, so I made this and hopefully it's going to work. Last time I tried to do it, it didn't. So I'm hoping today is a new day. I do have a pencil as well, so I'm able to trace that on. I have a caddy of a ton of different kinds of paints. So there is a list of the paints, but as long as you have the colors, or at least the colors you want to try, I did include in the materials list what the colors actually are that are used in the painting. However, it's all about creativity and making it your own. So you could most definitely change those colors up, and I don't think you'd have any issues, which is probably what I will do a little bit of today. So right now we're going to start with our background. So we're on this, they've used a yellow, a little bit of a pink, some white, and we're gonna then have some green at the bottom. So I'm gonna start to gather up my colors. I'm going with a pale pink, yellow. And again, you could do this in any type of colors that you would like. We've seen skies be all kinds of different colors. So there really is no right or wrong on the painting. However, if you want it to look just like this, then you would want to grab those colors that are affiliated with that. I like to be creative, so I'm going to go on out on a whim, and you'll find that I do that a lot. Okay, so we're going to start with our background, and those colors that are doing the sky there, we're going to do those to about leaving yourself about this much area, less than a quarter, that will end up making green. So I'm going to start by combining my colors. So I have half of my brush with yellow and half of my brush with pink. And I'm coming in here now, and I'm just going to start going back and forth. I can start to implement that white while I'm doing it. And again, as mentioned, and if you want, you can just kind of draw yourself a line down here of where you don't want to pass and just start painting all of that down to your line. Now, I'm using a canvas panel. However, you could very well use the 3D canvases. Just remember, no matter what canvas you're using, they do still have their sides. So make sure you're nabbing those sides down to your line. So we're just painting those sides as well as we're going here. Down to our line so we don't forget about them. I do lay mine flat that I will be showing you as I go here. Um, Now, one thing we can do to kind of stretch our paint out a little bit is go ahead and dip this in our water. I do have a cup here that has some water in it. And now I'm able to make that blend a little bit nicer. And now, if you find that you're getting a little bit more yellow than you want, then just grab some of that pink and you can throw it right on top and it'll start to blend right very nicely. And then we're going to grab some of that white as well. And we're just going to start to blend all this. And we're just doing that down to our line. And again, there's no real right or wrong with this. And if you go past your line, it's completely fine. And green's going to be a darker color anyways. So if you go past the line, we can just paint over some of this pastel colors we've got going on here. Now I'm starting to implement some of this white and just kind of moving it around. So here's what mine is looking like so far. And again, you can just kind of spread it out how you would like with your paint. You want more of that white look, just lightly graze it with that white. And what's nice about working with a top and a bottom is that we don't have to wait for it to dry to work with um, the bottom. We can just jump right on in and do that. So I'm going to put this brush in my water because I want it to clean off. So here is what I've done so far for my background. And now I'm going to grab a couple of different greens. I have this green. Let me go see if I have a different green here. All right, sorry about that. Thought I had all three. All right, so I'm going to go with kind of a spring green. Put some of that on my plate here. And then I'm going to go with a little bit of my hunter green, just so I can get my blades in there a little better. We'll worry about that shadowing in there after we put the bicycle in there. All right, so I have three different color greens. I've got kind of a lime color, I've got a hunter, and then I've got that spring green. Uh, And now I'm gonna start, I'm cleaning off my brush and I'm gonna start working with the bottom. So I am gonna grab that spring green with some of that lime green I've got and maybe just a hint of a hunter. So I got kind of three colors there going on. And now I'm gonna come in here down past below my line and start to paint in my grass. And I'm holding my brush flat, not sideways. I'm holding it flat as I do this. I'm going to grab some of this darker green here. So you can just kind of fiddle with yours to make it look as green and as grassy as you would like it to be. I'm going to set this down while I paint that. And then I can show you what I'm doing here. And again, don't forget your sides on this. Up to the line there. And in some of this darker, get us some nice looking grass. And I've got my bottom here that I have to get. I'm not sure if I got my top, so make sure you get your top for your sky. Okay. And again, there is just no wrong or right. It's how you would like to do it here. So I've got some of my grass in there now with my background. And I'm just gonna kind of let that sit and dry because I can't put on my bicycle until it's dry. Well, so if I need to, I'm probably gonna need some kind of a card or a fan or something that I can use just to kind of go back and forth so I can get it dry, so I can start to work with. But real quick, I'm gonna grab my top here. I don't think I got my top. Sorry. It's an awkward look for me here. I'm getting the top. So if you didn't get your top, make sure you go back and nab it before we get too deep in here. So I'm just kind of coming in and grabbing my top here. Here we go. All right, so I'm waiting for that to dry. I'm gonna be fanning it so I can get it drier faster. Because as you know, we are on a time crunch today. We only have an hour to get our painting done. And go ahead and get your stencil ready. I've gone ahead and cut mine down. And it should fit perfectly on the canvas if you're using an 8 by 10, or I'm sorry, 8 by 11, 8.5 by 11. Just drying my canvas. And I know it's dry when I can look at it and I don't see any more shininess. See if I can find something a little thicker. I'm just fanning it to try to get it dry. Hopefully yours is getting dry. Because next on the agenda here is going to be the bicycle. So if you haven't gotten your stencil ready, go ahead and get it out and get it cut and try to fan. And you're under no obligation to rush like I am. So obviously you can kind of catch up when you can. I'm just trying to get it dry right now. I actually have a hair dryer. Let me go grab it. All right, I got my little hair dryer. So I'm gonna plug it in. Mine doesn't really produce any heat. It's more for the air of it. And so I am going to start drying this so I'm able to start to get my stencil. So if you've got a hair dryer laying around, it's definitely going to make it go faster. So right now I'm just drying my canvas if you're just joining me, and I haven't really looked to see if we've got anybody. So let me see. Don't see anybody. Okay. That's okay. You don't have to be here for this. You can watch it later if you need to. Just kind of a break up your day kind of thing and something to do so you relieve some stress and anxiety. I know painting's kind of my go-to when I start to get a little stressed. All right, I'm almost dry. Dry. Right, I think I'm good. Let's see, shiny, a little bit of shiny. I think it'll be okay. All right, so what we're gonna do now is you're gonna take that carbon paper that you got here, and you're gonna go ahead and decide where you're gonna put your bicycle. So the carbon side goes down. So I'm working with a clearer side, and I'm putting my stencil on top of it. And now I'm going to trace it on. So we're tracing on our bicycle, which really is the easiest way to get it on there instead of trying to freehand it. So carbon paper's amazing tool. So I am now just tracing my front wheel, and I'm putting in to go up to the top. So we're just tracing on this bicycle, and then once we get this bicycle traced on, we are going to color it in. So hopefully everybody's got the stencil. If not, you can always come back to this later and watch it and get your stencil together. And I will show you once I get this all traced on what it will look like. So if you're a little iffy, one thing you definitely don't want to do is pick the whole thing up as you're tracing, because you're never going to get it back lined up the way you had it. It's just, I've been doing this a really long time, and I'm telling you, you're not going to get it back. So almost done. And if you forget something after you have picked it up, you're just going to have to improvise and make it happen. Sometimes it happens that way where we forget to trace something. And once we've lifted it, it's going to be really, really difficult to get it back. Tracing my back tire now. Hoping this whole thing went through. Okay, moment of truth. All right, well, that doesn't look too bad. So I've got mine all traced on. You can see that. And now we're ready to color it in. So on the paper, theirs is red. However, you can do yours in any color. I'm sorry, I'm having a hot flash. You can do yours in any color that you want to do. So I am going to do mine in red just to kind of follow along. Hopefully I have red. So I have my red, and I'm going to go ahead and put that on my tray. They've also used a Well, that's for the flowers. So the flowers you're going to have to improvise on to get those into the basket. And hopefully we can do that. They're also using some black. And somehow my colors ran away. All right, so I've got some black that I'm going to use. So I am going to use my pointy brush because I do have 3 brushes here that I am using. So I am going to use my pointy brush. Turn on my here. Yeah. So I have a pointy brush here that I'm going to use. Now, one thing I can do to make my pointy brush pointy is go ahead and dip it in my water, and I'm just going to roll it on my paper towel just like this, and it makes it into a nice little point. And I am going to start painting in these areas. So I'm going to start with my red on my back tire area. And I'm just going to paint in that area. And I'm using my pointy brush because it's a very, very fine, small area. So I will show you as I'm going here. So I can paint it again, but there's that back fender. So you kind of get the idea. So now we're just kind of painting it in the way that we want to. And we have seen bicycles all different colors. So you can clearly make your bicycle any color you would like. Because there is no right or wrong with this. And the pointier the brush, the better. So I'm working with red first, and then I'm going to go back through and grab the pieces that are considered black. Makes it super easy when we are just painting in what we've traced on. Super easy then. And we'll probably need to get some brown as well for that basket area that's going to go with our black. And I'm just following my picture. Now, once we get one layer of paint on this, then we can obviously go back and repaint it if we don't like that it isn't as dark as we want it to be. Okay, so I have finished doing that. So that's all my red piece parts. And now I'm going to go through and get the black one. Beth?
I'm live. I'm live doing a class.
I'm live doing a class. All right, so I've got my first tire going. Not as round as I'd like, so you can obviously kind of clean it up, fix it. Do what you need to do to make it work. Putting on my spokes now. And we are going to implement some white into this. And your spokes are all the way down. So even though your template or your stencil doesn't show it that way, they do go all the way down into the tire. So there we go. All right, so, oh, I missed one. I actually forgot to trace that on. There we go. All right, so I've got that side done. And now I'm going to work on the front. And I'm just working with black right now because we're going to go back in and put in some of those white streaks. Oh, I forgot to paint something red. Okay, because we can go back and do that. Okay, so I'm painting my front wheel. This is so much easier doing it this way, where we can just trace it on and paint away. So now I'm putting on my spokes. Putting on these spokes. And again, don't forget, these do go all the way down to the tire. So even though it doesn't show that on your stencil, it does go all the way down to the tire. I'm gonna go back and grab this red piece that I did not get painted red. Yeah. All right. So what's nice, oh, my pedal. So what's nice about what we're doing right now is that it doesn't have to be dry to continue working on it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I am gonna go through and start highlighting some of this. So there's my bicycle so far. You are gonna need some white now because we're gonna be working with white. We'll do that basket last. Not gonna worry about the handle yet. I can do that last. Okay, so we're gonna need some white. So if you've got some white still, that's great. And actually the top of our seat is kind of a grayish color. So I've just mixed a little bit of my black and my white. And I am putting that on my seat. And then I'm going to use white just to kind of blend it all together there. Okay. So there's my seat. And I'm going to go through now and just take some white and I'm just going to do a very little bit around my tire to give it some accent in some different areas. I'm going to do that on both tires. Show you what I'm talking about. So I have put some of that white around my tires. And I'm going to make them a little bit brighter just so we can see some of that tread in there. And my spokes are going to need some of that white as well. And it looks like we have a little bit of a center here that we're going to go ahead and fill in. But I am just highlighting some of my spokes now. And again, I'm doing this on both tires. So I'm going to go to the front now. Just give it some of that roundness. And I can bring that down into my spokes. Now, if I get too much white while I'm doing it, not a huge deal. I can just go over it. So I noticed here that I've got just a little too much going on here. So I'm just going to try to blend and bleed it out as much as I can. So now I've got my spokes done. And this tire just isn't very round, but that's okay because I think I'm going to cover it a little bit with the grass to cover that. That's what's nice about painting is that. All right, so I'm making a gray now because I'm going to come in and do the handlebar portion up here by my basket. So I'm going to come in and go ahead and grab that to make it look like a silver. And that's why I'm using the gray. And then I'm going to accent it with a little bit of white. And that's going to give us kind of that silver look. So I've got my up there going. So now I'm going to see if I can get some brown. Do have a brown here, so that's good. And I'm going to use brown and white, and we're going to start to work on that basket. And so with the basket, you're still going to want your pointy brush. And we'll work on the rim last, but we're just going to do kind of like checkers. So I'm going to grab my black first. And I'm just going to kind of outline the basket first. And you can do your basket any way that you would like to. So I'm just doing the basket portion right now. So I'm just drawing some lines across. I'm going to grab this brown now and bring some lines kind of down. Both sides. And now I'm going to grab some of the white and pull it across as well. Just kind of filling in some of my gaps. But I'm going to grab some of my white, very little, and try to bring that across as well. Grabbing some of my brown because it took some of it out when I did that. So now we're ready for the rim of it. And I'm just going to outline that rim in black, just so it looks like there's a separation first. And then I'm going to take those same colors I've been using and I'm going to go at a down angle. It's just the brown, the black, and the white. And I'm bringing it to a down angle. Yeah, just like that. So then I have a basket. And once we put in our flowers, it will look a lot better. Now I can actually, gonna try to this more square. There we go. And I kind of painted over my red a little, so I'm gonna put, oops, I'm gonna put that red back in. Excellent. All right. So kind of check your work here and see where you're at and anything that you may need to define. So painting is all about layers. So if it's not going the way you want, don't fret. Now I am going to take some of that white and I'm going to go over, before you go over your red with your white, make sure you've gotten it to the brightness and everything that you want. And that's just giving it some definition. So if you can see your grass through it, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and paint some of those areas a little better. So it's a little thicker over that grass area. Then as it's wet, because that's really the best time to do this, go ahead and give yourself some highlight in there. Now here's where you can kind of mold everything, and like they have a black streak going through here. And then, yeah, so it's looking really nice. Hopefully yours looks nice too. Would love to see some of them if you'd like to send them my way. And again, if you get too much white in the red, no big deal. Just grab your red and fill it in. And it actually kind of spreads it out doing that, which makes it look a little nicer. Okay. So there's my bicycle. Looks like I have a flat tire. See if I can round it out a little more. Trying to make my front tire a little rounder. So I don't look like I have a flat. That looks a little better. There we go. So I'm just gonna accent that area that I just put in. All right. The hard part's over. All right, so now we are ready to do some flowers. I've already got some red, I've got some pink. I'm gonna go with a brighter pink. You could even do a little bit of purple. And really it's just swirls. So, and we're gonna cover those areas. So I have a bunch of colors, still using that pointy brush. And I'm not gonna overthink it, so I'm just gonna start to put some flowers in. And they've got some swirl. So we're just adding in some flowers. And since we used yellow, we can go ahead and make a yellow center on some of these, which would make it look really nice for to blend in with that background a little better. So I'm just adding a variety of different flowers. I've got some purple flowers. I've got some pink, some white. So I'm just adding in some flowers in there. So however many flowers you want to toss in there. I would definitely have like somewhat of a even amount if you can, but it really doesn't matter. And these flowers are just coming right out of our basket. So right now I'm just painting some flowers. However you want to paint your flowers is completely up to you. I'm sure everybody's will be different. Adding in some accent. So here's mine. We'll throw some of that greenery in to come down to make it look, kind of like a moor situation. So I'm just using basically the same colors. And just making them a little different is all. All right, well, I'm not gonna waste a whole lot of time on flowers because I could probably sit here all day and do just a bunch of flowers in there. Um, but I am gonna take some of this greenery and start pulling it out. So we got this like that, and they've got it kind of dangling over. And we got some leaves. And I am using some of my lime green and some of my spring green. Um, all right, and then we're gonna be ready to do some balloons, hopefully here. Got some white going on, which makes it look really pretty. So we're gonna do that as well. All right. Okay. So I just put some greenery in there. Sorry. So you can do yours however you'd like. And if you want to add more than I did, then feel free to do so. All right. So I went ahead and just kind of added a flower on coming off of the basket, but you can do it however you want. And sometimes too much is too much. So Okay. Actually going to curves. Fixated on this now. I definitely don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. All right. So now we've got our flowers in. I'm going to work on my handlebar here. So I am just going to paint it in the red as it shows. And it looks like there's streaks on it. So now I can use some of that white to do an accent. Too much. All right, and then they've got the red streamers, white streamers, and the pink stream. So we got streamers coming out of there. Cap that off. Okay. There's our streamers. You can do yours how you'd like. A couple more red in there just to kind of put more white. There we go. All right, and now we are ready for balloons. So the best way to do the balloons is going to be to draw your string first. So I am just going to come here to my rear, and I'm going to draw, there's one string. And we can wrap it around here in a second. I'm gonna have it cross over, and this is two strings, and you can always fill them in. And then this would be three strings. So I have three strings. Now I'm just gonna kind of go through and darken them up slightly. Not a whole lot. And I'm just using my pointy brush. Excellent. Oops. And so now I'm just gonna take as little of black as I can and tie it into my bumper. Okay. So now I'm ready to do my hearts. So I'm gonna do a red heart, and I'm gonna put that one on this. And I can go ahead and paint that in. I'm painting, and as I'm painting it in, I can go ahead and mold it. And then I'm going to stick a diamond on the end so it looks like a balloon. And I will show you. So there's my heart. And I just put a diamond on the end of it. go ahead and use the red while we got it here, and on this side, so I'm gonna paint that in. Ooh, we're almost there. We are almost there. Perfect. Kind of. It'll work. See if I can set that up. Trying to clean up a mess of. And I can go back and use my colors to fix that, okay? And now I'm ready for a white one. Or whatever colors you would like to use. Pyramid on the end to make it look like a balloon. And I'm painting in my white one. All right, now it's time to design them. So you can design yours however you would like. I am gonna put the word love in the middle of this one, just because that's the time of year we got going on here. Well, hopefully it's gonna work out for me here. So I'm turning my canvas. Okay. So I did put love in there. And now I'm gonna do polka dots on my other one. And then I'm gonna use red to do polka dots on the other one. Even though they didn't, I'm going to. Okay. Couple of fixes real quick. She's good. Oh, and our shadow for our wheels, we're just gonna use some black and underneath the tire. We're just going underneath it, underneath the tire. Perfect. And we can kind of implement some of our grass back into it. Just implementing some grass. All right. So I'm gonna add one more thing. Just because I feel like it should be here. And that is a sun in the corner. So it looks like it's a beautiful day to be out riding your bicycle. So you do not have to add on the sun. I'm just doing it because I have this corner here and I thought it would look nice. Okay. So I just added on a little sun in the corner. That is our painting, you guys. We did it. We made it through. Great job. I can't wait to see yours. Next month, we're gonna be doing a gnome. So that'll be fun. It is a St. Patrick's Day gnome. So if you haven't had a chance to see that, definitely check out our calendar. Just fixing a few errors here. All right, well, I think I love it. I think I absolutely love it. Great job. I will see you in the next virtual painting class.